Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Before I go any further, let's just quickly do the weekly question. I am going to be doing some hay and stuff in small fields up near where we're going to be buying cows. And what I'd like to know is, do you want me to use very small haymaking equipment, such as that one there, and we could use the little Pottinger rake there. We've also got a rake over here under miscellaneous, which is actually a rake and a tedder combined, so it'll do both jobs. So yeah, we could use little tiny machines like this and get some really small tractors to pull them. However, I won't be buying other really small equipment to use elsewhere on the map, so it would kind of make the tractors a little more obsolete if we were to do that. But I mean, they could still sort of be a fleet of haymaking tractors. But I wouldn't really be able to use them for anything else. And the reason I'm not going to use them for anything else is because I would like to use a lot of small tractors on Garale. And I think it's Garale. Someone said that I pronounced that was the correct pronunciation rather than Garale. It should be Garale. So yeah, if I'm getting that wrong, then obviously I need people to point that out. But yeah, I'm going to be using all sorts of small tractors over on that map. Anything up to kind of the 200 horsepower range. I won't really be using anything bigger than that. Whereas on this map, we've already got some bigger tractors, and I could sort of get a few of the medium-sized tractors, 1 to 200 horsepower, and use those on this map. I can get, see, you look at these here, you got 122 there, it's 156. I could get 4 or 5 of these tractors, and they would fit in really well. This one here, this John Deere, I've got a feeling this one's now been removed. I thought this one was part of the mod contest. I could be wrong. There was a John Deere that was here that now seems to have vanished from the mod contest page, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And you've got the Massey Ferguson pack as well. So yeah, we've got various tractors that we can use that are kind of mid-range, and they would pull the machines that we've already got, and I could sort of spread them out a little bit. Or I could go for the really small stuff and the really small tractors like this 49 horsepower Valtra right here. We've got a little tiny Zeta here, 65 horsepower. Although that one's a bit pricey for what I was kind of thinking. So yeah, which do you want me to get? Do you want me to get the really small ones and use the really small haymaking equipment? Such as this small tedder here. There is another one that's even smaller than that. And kind of do it like that, like almost like classic machinery just for doing the haymaking. Or do you want me to get some mid-range tractors, 4 or 5 mid-range tractors, and you know, spend our 100 grand on those, like these Fords here, and not that Zeta because we've already got that elsewhere. Yeah, but you get the idea. And then kind of use the mid-range tractors for various different jobs. We could like spread them out a little bit more on a farm, I think. I'm not sure. It's something that I'm going to try and do if that's what the way that you want me to do it, or we'll just have the small stuff. It's like a swarm of gnats all over the haymaking. We could get loads of them going all at once. So it's your vote. It's your game. Head in the comment section down below. Let us know which one you want and why. And of course, don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right-hand corner. Now then, I have got this tractor here that I'm taking out. The bales, I've brought them back down this way. I've got the Fent. I've gone and loaded up the rest of the bales in the field. That is most of the way down here. However, I got a little bit carried away as I was driving in here, and there is our lorry lying on its side, looking rather sorry for itself. So what I thought that we would do first is take the straps off these bales. If I can climb up onto this lorry. Come on. I can do this. I know I can do this. There we go. Right. So let's remove these. We don't want to open the bales, and we've got to be careful not to do that. So I've got to make sure that I'm looking below the straps so that I don't actually have the bale opening option. I think if I just sort of slide along like this, we should be able to open all of the straps. There we go. It's working quite nicely, actually. Come over like that, and last one's there, and there we go. Ah! Okay, so we didn't actually need the tractor. I thought we might need the tractor to kind of nudge it back upright. But this game does wonders for physics in trying to push the bales and the tractors and everything back the right way up without really needing much assistance. We're going to need this tractor in a little while because we would like to crack open our silage clamp today. It's ready to go, so it would be pretty good if we could crack that one open. We've got the New Holland in the field there. That one, we're going to go and start that one cultivating again in a minute using the hired help. The reason I haven't started it yet is because what I'd like to do is I'd like to sort of see it in action and see how it copes with the ditch. Now then, let's just stop right there. We unload onto the trailer and strap on before all the bales roll right off the lorry. And we'll take this one up to the top. This time, without going around the corner too fast. I know that these trailers are very top heavy. They're very light, and I have tipped them over before. I thought that I was going at a reasonable rate when I went round that corner. I thought I was going slow enough. I'd braked, and unfortunately what I did wrong was I braked as I turned. You should never brake as you turn. That is just asking for trouble. You brake before the corner, accelerate into the corner. You don't brake as you go around the corner, because all that's going to do is tip you over. And that's what I did. So yeah, I should be braking before the corner. Now, here, if I go too close, it'll start unloading the bales, and then it messes the straps up. So if I can take these straps off, and then we come in, we get $1,764 per bale. That puts up to $117,000, which isn't too bad. We've got more money to bring in. I'm on miles per hour at the moment. I need to change that a minute. Let's change that over to kilometers. There we go. As we are metric in New Zealand. So I got the Fent. It's got some bales on it ready. It's not quite a full trailer load, but we'll bring those back and we'll sell them. We got a trailer load of 22 bales up by where the cows are going to be. We'll take this trailer here up to the sheep, because there's some hay up there. We might be glad of that. But let's go and get that cultivator started a minute. Right, if I just press H, let it rescan the field, because it, while it sort of figures out what to do, and we can see how it's going to cope with going through this ditch. And if we zoom out, right, the problem is it's got a little bit that it's left there from the last time it went round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it now. You can already see it heading towards there. It thinks that that is part of the field that it's got to do, and it's not just going to leave it. So if we come back through and cultivate in this direction, just for that little bit, it should assist quite considerably. There we go. Right, so that's done there. And if I do the same the next one up, because the AI assistance mod, it scans the whole field and it looks for bits that you haven't done. And so it is great like that. It does really help you out. But at the same time, if you miss a tiny little bit, it's going to go back over and try and do it again, which I think is going to lead to like some serious issues when we're trying to do something like this, because it's going to think that you haven't actually done the job properly and try and do it again for you. So if I come back around here, so yeah, it'll just sort of keep going back over the bit that you've missed, and eventually start having your tractor turning a sharp corner there instead of just working properly. Yeah, and all sorts of bad things will happen. So if we do that, hopefully now it's going to kind of line up, and it's going to get that bit right over there in front of us and cultivate that. It's got this little piece here, a little grab on this side, and come up over there where it's already done, spinning a little bit as it goes. There we go. Right, that's done just fine. The next couple of passes I think could present a couple of complications, because that's where it starts to get quite steep, so we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, he can carry on going on, or she can carry on going on around the field, and we will go and get the Fent and unload those bales. Right, we'll just take these last few bales up here. That is everything out of that steep field now. It's completely done. We probably won't be doing very much with that field anymore. We've done what we wanted to do in there. We've done some steep work and seen it all in action. Once we've sold these bales, our next task is to buy some cows. We want to buy cows today. We may not get grass in for them, but we could at least get some water up there for them, and then we can worry about putting bedding and everything in for them next time. We'll wait and see on that one. Right, let me just stop right there and unhitch those. No, don't roll off! Okay, that's not supposed to happen. Let me load them back on again, and if I load them like that, stop loading, and then immediately unload them, and yeah, done. Okay. Incredibly realistic, that, the way that the bales can teleport to the front of the trailer. It it's amazing what modern science has done for agriculture. Being able to use teleportation devices whilst farming, it's really improved things for everybody involved. Wouldn't that be absolutely fantastic if you could actually use a teleporter device to like move your bales from the field to, even if it's just moving the bales from the field onto your trailer. So the auto load thing that we've got here, and I'm actually pointing behind me, I'm physically pointing behind me at the trailer that we've just left behind. Yeah, just never mind that. Yeah, but I think it'd be absolutely amazing if we could do that, don't you think? If we could actually physically have a teleporter so that we could use like an auto load trailer without having to worry about manually loading it all onto trailers, that would just be awesome. That would be fantastic. Anybody out there who's like a really good scientist, probably a specialist in quantum dynamics or something like that. Hang on, what am I doing? I'm going to Control F. I want to put it on follow. Yeah, and anybody who's sort of a specialist in quantum physics and quantum dynamics and yeah, space-time kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know now. It'll probably come to me later. Actually, it'll probably come to me after I finish recording. That's what normally happens. I get these flashes of inspiration after I finish doing the recording, and I think, why didn't I say that? That would have been brilliant. But yeah, anyway. If there are any absolute geniuses like Stephen Hawking watching this video, please could you invent a teleportation device? Or at least, you know, set mankind on the path to teleportation. I think it's something that we need, and I would very much like to see bales being teleported. I mean, let's be honest. The first thing that people are going to use it for is to avoid hot car journeys and teleport themselves to work. Or, you know, teleport themselves into the middle of a bank vault and take a big pile of money. But, yeah. I'm sure that we could find a way to regulate the use of the teleportation devices so that it is only used for good. Anyway. How did I start this? Seriously. Right. I want to get up to the sheep, and so that we can get the water bowser that's up there, and we can get the cattle trailer as well that is up there. We can get those going. We want to get them over. The water we need to get back to the cattle. We want to buy some cattle as well, and we get them over to the cattle yards, and we can start actually looking after our cows. Here we go. Right, and yes, I do realise that Frith was a very naughty boy and didn't have his flashing beacons on when he was driving up the road, and I have reprimanded him for that. Now then, let's go down here, take this one off of Follow Me. I'm going to put this trailer in the shed here so that we've got it ready to move that hay. I think what we'll do is we'll cut fresh grass for the sheep. And then we got this hay here ready to use for the cattle. I mean, we might not need to do it with all of it. We could put some of this hay in for the sheep and then put some of it in for the cows. So we don't have to worry about bringing fresh grass over for the sheep just yet. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to... let's just come through here. I'll put that tractor onto the water barrel so that's ready to go. The water barrel is going to need to be taken and filled up, I think. Have we got water in here? I can't remember now. No, we don't. Right, so we'll have to take that one over to the river so that we can fill that one up. And I think the only place that we can actually fill it is the river that runs along by our farm over there, because these points in the fields, whilst they are water troughs for the animals, they don't actually have fill triggers on them. Or at least none of the ones that I've tried so far have fill triggers on them. So we can't actually use them to fill the water bowser, which is a little bit of a nuisance. It does mean that we've got to go further. But that's alright, we'll run the water barrel down to the river and fill up down there. What do we got here? 4 full pallets of wool and 3/4 of a pallet, so we're not doing too bad there. We're going to go on our back road here that we made with the roller and the ground modification mod. I have had people suggesting that I should use the ground modification mod to make some changes to Rattlesnake Valley, but I've also been told that there are some issues with that mod, and people have experienced some strange things happening with their save game files after they've used it. And because of the sheer quantity of hours that I put into Rattlesnake Valley, along with the large number of mods and everything that I use, I don't really want to run any risks on there, which is why I'm not going to use that mod. I'm going to just stick with the map as it is, rather than adding tracks or concreting over pads or anything like that. Purely because I don't want to risk something going wrong and something becoming corrupted, because it would be a real headache to have to try and correct all of that. Whereas on a Let's Play like this, I can kind of explain it as I go along, but I feel that it really would detract from the enjoyment of the time-lapse if I had a major error like that turn up, and then I had to sort of spend ages explaining it whilst doing the time-lapse at the same time. So yes, for that reason, I won't be using the ground modification rod in Rattlesnake Valley. And what am I doing? We need to line up with the race. Let's get it lined up properly there. There we go. Right, properly lined up there. Now we can load up some cattle. And we want to buy all we can get. We get 20 on here, so there's $100,000 worth of cows. So just 20 of them. We'll probably focus on buying some tractors next, and then after we've bought tractors, we can then come back to buying a few more cows. We've got wool ready to sell from the sheep. We've got 4 pallets there at least, plus another pallet that's nearly done. So that's going to generate some more income. We could then go and buy a few more cows. I'd like to get more than 20 cows, but I'm not going to go overboard with cows. We'll just get a few so that we can sort of go through the motions of doing the cows, but at the same time I don't think that we really need to concentrate loads of time on the cows, because Garale has got 100 cows on there to start with. So we're really focusing on cattle on that map, and I've been told that the sheep on Garale don't work very well. The whole wool spawner thing is broken, so we may not do sheep on the map at all, whereas we're doing sheep on here. We might just do cows and pigs on that map. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't quite made my mind up. People told me that the straw was broken on the Garale map. However, so far, the straw seems to be working okay. It might be something that I've overlooked, something I haven't realised just yet. But yeah, we'll sort of wait and see on that. Right, let's open this gate here. And I've had a look here with the cows. You got water there, feed on the inside, but there's no way for the cows to actually access that except through the gate over here. And that's fine. We could leave that gate open so that the cows can come in and out, but then you've got this one here that is wide open and there's nothing to stop the cows from wandering away. Now, a lot of dairy farms, what they would do is they would have a system of electric fences in place to stop the cows from sort of wandering too far away from where you wanted them to be. At the same time, you would... Right, I'm going to have to do a little bit of shunting to get round this corner properly. I think if we come back up here... yeah, at the same time, you could have all of these runs open. If we kept the gates down by the road closed and other gates into fields closed except any field that we wanted them to go through, we could just leave the gates open and the cows would be able to go through just fine. So that might be a policy that we introduce, doing it like that, so that we can leave these gates open for the cows to access their barn. Now, if I swing right out round like that, now we can get our cows in here, and we can bring... We've got to back them right up to that race, I think, so that we can unload them. That is the logical point. I can't see that there's anywhere else that we would want to go to be able to unload our cows. So let's bring that back up there. And... not sure how far back we've got to go. Well, that's about as far as we can go. Could do it like that. Get a good view of the cows. Can't really see the cows very well. We can if we sort of look at them like that. There we go. Now you can see the cows. And yes, I am sort of looking to see if this would be a good angle to get our cows for the screenshot, but I don't think we'll use that screenshot. It doesn't look very good, does it? It's not very appealing to the eye. So let's unload. 20 cows confirmed. Do you really want to? Yes, I do. I have committed. I am certain. Now then, we need to get water in for the cows. We've got the gates here. This one here, well, this is where we come down to feed them. There is a cow wandering around in the shed, and I'm assuming that they can walk out through here. We want to keep this gate closed so that they can't come out here. We're going to have to go down to the road and close those double gates down there and keep those closed so that the cows can run out through here. I mean, you could always put an electric fence. You could always just put an electric... Actually, yeah, maybe we'll just say that. We've got an electric fence across here. We'd probably want to close the gates down the bottom anyway, just as a precaution, just to make sure that they don't run away. But I think that we'll be okay with an electric fence there. Right. Whilst we... I've got to go and get some water now. So let me just close this gate. I don't want the cows coming out there. I don't think they can get out anywhere else. We should be okay. We'll worry about food in the next episode. But we will go and get them some water. I will go and park this one up. Actually, I'm just going to leave that one here, so that it's ready if we need to use it again to get a few more cows. I will go and get some water. I'll have to go to the river and get some and then bring it up here so we can at least put some water in for these. And I would like to crack open our silage clamp at the BGA before we go as well. Before I get the water, I've just come down to check on this one, and it has encountered a bit of a problem turning in that on this hill. So what I'm thinking is I will probably leave the hired help to do another round or two here, but then I will swap the tractors over and I'll put the Fent on here, because that one will have the horsepower to pull the cultivator through the steep bits. Look at that. See? I do sometimes remember to actually put my beacons going while I'm on the road. I know, it does come as a bit of a surprise, but there are times that I am a law-abiding citizen. Right, let's find the water trough. I think we can access the water trough from this side, because going through the actual farm, I don't know if you can open the gate on the other end. Let me just stop here a second. So, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to say that we've got a electric fence across there, because the cows come through here. If I close the gate, the cows will go through the gate anyway. So we'll leave that gate open, and they do wander in and out of this barn. We've got a gate here that we can open, so we can have through access when we want to top up the feed trough, but we want to keep that one closed because we don't want the cows getting out that side. And yeah, because they walk in and out, this here is going to be the electric fence. Now, I have heard people say there is actually a mod for an electric fence, but I have yet to find one anywhere that you can actually like just stand an electric fence up somewhere. So I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. Let's just come up here and then back up like that. Should put us to the water trough. There we go. Right, so we can fill this one up. 20 cows will take just over 4,000 litres by the look of it. So I'm not going to worry about... We'll do grass and everything next time. We'll put the... Oop, okay, I'm going to have to drive into the field, I think, and turn round. Out the way, cow. Yeah, we'll put straw bedding in for them, and then we'll cut some grass, and we'll put that in for them, and we'll make up a mix of total mixed ration as well. We got the silage bales, and everything else is all there ready and waiting. We got to get the hay bales down from the top, the small bales. But we've also got this mod now. The what is it? I can't remember what it's called. It's in baling. It's under baling things. I was looking at it earlier. There we go. Baling technology is in here, right down the end. That one right there, the Go Wheel LT Master. That one is the one that we can open the bales with. So we can open the bales with that one, which means that we could open up the small bales or the big bales, and we can just put in buckets of loose hay and straw and stuff if we want to. Probably we're not going to do that though. But we do have a little bucket there that we could use if we chose to. Now I'm going to head over to the biogas plant. I'll go and get the little Linda, and we will take that one up to the biogas plant. I would like to crack open a silage clamp there. I have got a little surprise that I installed up there for you, but I don't think it's going to work. Driving this Linda along the road, it's like driving Miss Daisy. It really is. It's such a slow tractor for road speed. It's awful. So yeah, the little surprise that I installed up here, I then, after I installed it, I tested it, and it doesn't work how I was hoping it would work. But we can at least we can make use of it. So yeah, I got a ramp here. I'd installed the ramp there. It worked really well. It is great. You can drive up it. You can back the trailer up. The only problem is when you back a trailer up to the top with silage in it to tip it, it says you cannot tip here using the item that you've got. It doesn't like it. It will not let you tip. Which I thought was a bit unfair, really. I'd gone to all the trouble of doing that, and I loaded up the trailer and everything, and yeah, it didn't like it at all. It did not work. So, the other option is to take this tractor here with a massively oversized bucket. I mean, technically, we should really be going to use the bucket that we got up by the cows instead of this one. Incidentally, trying to load the trailer with this tractor and this bucket doesn't work out quite so well as you'd hope. And do you know why? It's because of the weight of the bucket. See, I bring it up, once you get to about that high, I'm tilting that over as far as I can. Right, that bucket won't stay tilted back for some reason. Even though I've got that's literally as far over as it will go. And then you can't get it any higher than that. The tractor won't allow you to lift it higher than that. You can try and drive forward, get it right up in the air, but then it still goes over. Boom. So, yeah. Trying to load it, you just have to use half bucketfuls. It really doesn't work very well. And it doesn't seem to like this thing at all anyway. So I'd like to get a different tractor up here, or a different loader or something, another system to do this, because spooning it in like this but really painfully slow is going to take a very, very long time, and it's not really something I want to... You do feel a bit sort of unsteady when this one's being used. It's disconcerting, to say the least. But we have cracked open the silage clamp, and we have spooned a little bit of silage into the digester so that we can start making a bit of money. And not only that, we can start making some digestate. The cows will start producing a bit of slurry, so we will actually be able to do some slurry spreading on this map before we go. And I'm not quite sure what sort of slurry spreader I'm going to use. Here in Europe, you have to use injection for slurry. You cannot use tankers that spray slurry up in the air anymore. You're not allowed to. Legally, it has to be injected into the soil or dribble. It's either a dribble bar, so that it dribbles it over the surface, or it's an actual injector that injects it into the soil. I think that in certain circumstances where you're allowed to use a dribble bar and not an injector. And I don't think you're always allowed to use a dribble bar, though. And interestingly enough, that one there is an injector that injects it into the ground. This one here, though, that is a dribble bar. The pipes just sort of trail along the ground, dribbles it onto the surface. That's an injector, and it's a kind of injector, but anyway, that pushes it slightly below the surface. It makes a scratch and puts the slurry into it. You're not allowed to use ones like this anymore in this country. Or that one. Not for slurry, because it sprays it up into the air and allows for massive release of the trapped methane, and people get all upset about it. So you're not allowed to do that. It's not very environmentally friendly. But I don't know about New Zealand. Now, I know that I have a few people that watch this series who come from New Zealand, who hail from the land of the long white cloud. So I'd really like to know, if anybody is watching, what is the legal standpoint in New Zealand concerning slurry spreading? Do we have to have injection or dribble bar, or can we have one of the other style slurry spreaders that chuck it up into the air? That's really important information for me, because I want to make sure that we do this right. We do want to abide by the law when we're doing our slurry spreading. Really not happy using this tractor to do this job. I think that we will find another way. Actually, I do know of one other way that we could do this. We might try that in the next episode. I'll just quickly show you here so you know what to expect, rather than it being a surprise, because it's not much of a surprise. Go into here, we've got the CSZ adapter. Allows you to use any mod CSZ with all tractors that do not have a front loader using the hydraulics lifts available, front or rear. So what we could do is we could get that one, put it onto the back of this tractor and put that massive bucket on it, and then we could back the tractor up to there and tip it out. I don't know if it would have the height on it. That's the only issue, is whether it would be high enough to actually do the tip or not. I don't really know. It might be worth me experimenting with that before I do an episode, so that I can just sort of see what happens with it. But I think it would be a really cool mod to use. Of course, the other one that I was hoping to use was that silage cutter mod that I've used in the time-lapse. Unfortunately, though, because we can't use the trailer to tip the silage into the bin up there, using a silage cutter is going to be a complete and utter waste of time. It's a bit of a shame, really. And I don't want to use conveyor belts. I don't want to have a long system of conveyor belts. As everybody does conveyor belts. I've done conveyor belts on just about every other silage clamp that I've done. So I'd like to try something a little bit different this time. Anyway, my question for this week. Do you want me to use a load of small tractors and really small haymaking equipment to do our hay and grass cutting that we're going to do in these small fields up here? And I think we'll also take the grass from here and take it over to the sheep rather than cutting more over here. I'm not quite sure what we'll do with the sheep yet. We'll see. So yeah, do you want me to use the really small stuff here, or do you want me to get some medium tractors, stick with the haymaking equipment that we've already got, and maybe just buy a couple of extra, and then spread those tractors out and do some other jobs with them as well? It's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below, let us know which one you want and why, and of course don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner. If you've enjoyed this episode, please head down below and give me a like, and if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me, get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.